screw it. Let's just do it. Let's go live. Let's do it. Come on, everybody. Let's figure this out. I can hang up that. Hello. How's everybody doing? I'm a little bit late. I was messing around with sound. I still have not figured out why I can't get Video Ninja and TikTok to work together. I need to redo that. Okay. All right. If you're just coming in, tap on the screen, please, and share this live out. If you are on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Share it out also. We do want to try and get some discussions going. If you are on TikTok, there's a little pink and blue guy down here on the bottom. Hello, hello, hello. All right, there we go. Audio is not working. Here we. Jeez. What's up, everybody? Hey, sorry about that. I have been trying to get the audio figured out on TikTok, and it's not been so great, but we'll get there. So while you're up here, please tap on the screen, share the live out. Let's get some conversations going, if you could. Let's have a little fun. Let's talk about convincing Benny to become a Christian. Hi, Reese. Hi, Shell Bells. Hi, Michael. Let me also get in on this and check my chat. Okay, we are live. Why am I missing? Default device, general. Have I looked into NDEs? Yes, I've looked into NDEs. I don't put too much weight behind them. I think that a lot of that is, just chemicals releasing in the brain. I also don't think that you can be near unalivement. I think that, once you have brain unalivement, you're gone. So it doesn't really make sense to me if, there's like nothing firing off and people are seeing things. Yeah. Actually, deaths. Yeah. The brain unalivement, there's nobody that's ever come back from that. Sorry. Unless you're going to count Jesus, then not so much. Let me see here. All right. So, Ciara, if you would like to come up, we can talk about it. I do need to test out a few things here. Test. Yep. Okay. Am I repeating myself or anything on your guys' end? Please let me know if the sound is not working. Why wouldn't you want that? Let me know if you can hear me on YouTube, please. I do appreciate it if people can give me a little bit of feedback. Why would anyone want to be a Christian? That's a really good question. I think that we can figure that out together. What's up, Jezreel? All right. Well, if you want to come up, you have to click the little like pink and blue person down here, and then you will be able to join on TikTok. If you want to come up on YouTube, let's see here. I think Ciara was the first one. Ciara, are you there?
Go.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Age real quick.
I'm 27.
All right. 27. And let me see here. I just want to see if I got everything here. All right. And how could you convince me to become a Christian?
Well, so can we go back to like what we were just talking about for really just 1 second? I have a quick story
sure.
because yeah, so I was in the hospital recently due to some like preeclampsia symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And this nurse who came in on the overnight shift to monitor the baby, she was talking with me, and we were like going over all the, somehow we got into like how she had a miscarriage and this and that. And
Yeah.
just I told her actually how like um, NDEs kind of brought me comfort with mine, because like I guess they say that sometimes that the baby's not ready and that they come in the next what.
Right.
Anyways, and then somehow that conversation got onto like miracle stories, and she told me about how she was working one night whenever this guy, his name is John Smith, and he's from Lake St. Louis, Missouri. This is the hospital I was at, Lake St.
Okay.
Louis Hospital. And she said that night when that day when she was working, this John Smith got brought in there clinically dead, brain dead. He was under the ice. He fell through ice and was under there for like 15 minutes or something. And then after they got him out, it was like an hour that he had been brain dead, I guess, or whatever. They
Well,
had like
okay.
all this
Now,
stuff on him.
brain death is like complete death, right? So like you could be
Yeah.
like medically unalive, but like there's nobody that's ever come back from brain death. If there was somebody that came back from brain death, it would be like a miracle, right?
That's what she said. She was like, I was working that night and I'll never forget, even the doctors, you can't be in the video. Sorry. She said that even the doctor who was doing CPR, because the doctor like was trying to do CPR on him for like 30 minutes. I forgot. It was an unusually long time. And
Mm-hmm.
typically like they would have already given up, but like his mom was there and stuff. Anyways, the mom, she said, started speaking in tongues and called on the Holy Spirit. I'm not joking. There's a movie about this even. Okay, I had looked it up after this night.
What's
And
the
oh,
movie
what was
called?
craziest? I have a post on my page from when this happened. It's called Breakthrough. And the day we were talking about this in my room was exactly, I forget, I think like 7 years, something, exactly that many years in one day. No, 11 years in one day is what it was, because I remember it was all one. It was
Mm-hmm.
exactly 11 years in one day. You'll have to go to my page and look at the post from like, I was 33 weeks pregnant at this time.
Okay, thank you.
So it was 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. I could not believe this story. And I had to like share it afterwards. But what was crazy, so she said that he was literally dead. And the doctor tried CPR. They tried shocking him back. It wasn't happening. The mom started praying, and she started praying in tongues. And that's when he started like coming back alive. Like he came alive. He started breathing. And like I said, they made like a whole movie, but she just told me how like all of them were flabbergasted. I think the doctor didn't believe, and he was like atheist or whatever until that day, of course. And like I still have yet to watch that movie, but I'm gonna watch it. But I did look up his story on like he went on the news. He was on like some talk shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, what was even more wild is I had HG my like entire pregnancy, which I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like a
What's
really,
HG?
really, yeah, yeah, like without like I was, anyways. But after that night when we talked about it, I don't know if this woman prayed for me or like what happened, but I have not had sickness ever since then either. Now I don't know if that's
Okay.
related or it just
So
went away, because it can just go away.
here's a
But go
question.
ahead.
Here's a question from me to you. Okay, so I'm actually a cancer survivor. I had
Mm-hmm.
bilateral testicular cancer. I know for a fact that a lot of people probably prayed for me, and it didn't do anything. What did cure it was surgeons and science. So,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to ask you is, why would prayer help you but not me?
Yeah, I feel like that's a really common question, and that's where I thought her story was really interesting because so what the lady believed in this situation was that there was something about the power of tongues, like something about her praying in the tongues, because like
Hmm.
she said she was a believer, like she, and the mom like prayed at first, but when she called on the Holy Spirit and started speaking in tongues is when he like came to life. Now I've never spoken tongues myself, so, but I do think that faith and maybe like maybe some people like have the gift of, because it does speak about like the gift of, and that's another thing that I do have to like mention. So my mom had cervical cancer, and we
Okay.
used to go to this church with my uncle way back in the day, and they would have like healings and stuff they talked about. Now, this church, they were big on speaking in the tongues as well. And my mom's cervical cancer went from like widespread, like the doctor went to go get another biopsy of it or whatever. And this was after she got in prayer line, I think like the first time for it. And she actually
Mm-hmm.
fell over. Like, you know how you see in the movies where they fall over? She did that and was like knocked out and didn't remember anything from when she fell over. But so her appointment right after that, the doctor went to get a and there was none there. It was completely gone. That was my mom. And yeah, you wonder
So
like how would that happen?
so you're
Yeah.
saying that prayer got rid of like metastatic cancer, or not? It wasn't metastasized, I'm guessing, because if it metastasized, then it would have like moved to other. Did she go through any kind of like treatment of any type?
No, they were after this like this other biopsy she was getting is when she was like probably gonna have to be on chemo and all this stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
was young at the time, but I remember her like crying about it and getting in prayer line, and she like wrote like undefeated and stuff on the bottom of her socks for that appointment. And yeah,
Okay.
the doctor marked her off as a miracle, and she's never had any issue with that ever since. I would.
So the thing, okay, so when they do a biopsy, and the reason why I'm being very skeptical with this is because my mom also had cancer. She had lymphoma, and she just went through chemo and is now in remission. So good for that. But when they first tested for her cancer, it was actually considered like large B cell lymphoma, and then they tested again in another spot and they couldn't find it. Then they tested again in another spot that showed up in a PET and they couldn't find it. But when they did the PET, they were seeing like, cancerous, like she was glowing basically because the irradiated uh, contrast showed that she had these like tumors. After the
Mhm.
chemo, it started to shrink, and that's when they, called her as in remission. You do have to get like a biopsy and look at these things like under a microscope to really make a clear determination, or they'll they called like it's called like something cytometry, where they can like test for certain types of like tumor markers, and
Mhm.
it's just not very like clear without like doing the tests right away, and like making sure that everything's done like carefully, if they have enough tissue. I know that my mom, she couldn't get into like one of those like pretrial studies because of the fact that they couldn't get like a clear like sample from her tumors.
Yeah.
But she definitely, like had large B cell cancer when they did the scraping of her. It was like her liver, her biliary duct. So it's not so easy to just like find cancer and then find it again. Uh, a lot of it is kind of a you know intelligent, like decision made off of a lot of different like evidence that's taken. So
Mhm.
I would also say that would be like what I would do. Jeez, I don't know why the sun is like right in my face. When it comes to maybe God's telling me to like, like listen to her. Jeez, Bonnie. Hey, Danny.
No, there's so this the church that I mentioned where my mom went. So my uncle actually got my grandma to go as well, which I don't know if it was when she went to that church. I feel like it was a revival story I heard, but listen. So my grandma had this incurable stomach disease. This is like the only other close personal like miracle healing story. But
Mm-hmm.
she had this incurable stomach disease where her stomach was like basically paralyzed. She could have like jello or whatever, but she'd be in still really bad pain even eating that. And she was like at the end of her years of like life expectancy with this, and had thrown up so much over the years, like her voice box was pretty much gone, like all of not voice box, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she did not sound like she had much voice left or anything. Like it just had her
I think you
completely tore
resurrected.
up from all the years of vomiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my my grandpa, I remember him talking about how like she would be up all night just screaming and crying in pain
Ugh.
because oh, I'll get to that in a minute. But she agreed because my uncle wouldn't stop pestering her about it, and she didn't really like. She was very offended and did not like hearing like all of these little stories and stuff because she was dying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she finally agreed to go to this revival, and she told me that so the same similar thing happened where she like fell out, and I've never had that happen to me, so I don't
Uh,
really know. But I remember
Pause
her saying she
one
felt like
moment real quick. Sorry. It's just the way over here said you won't need convincing when everything hits the fan, you'll run towards Christ. I've faced cancer, you know, like stage 3, uh eye to eye, and no, sorry, I didn't run to Christ. But yeah, okay. So you can go on. So she went to a revival.
yeah, so she said that when she fell over, she couldn't get off the floor as much as she tried. She was just like glued to the floor, and then she felt like jolting going up and down her body, just like this electric and it wasn't painful, she said, but it was like jolting. And after that, when she got up that day, she just said that she knew that she was okay, like she knew something radical happened, I guess. She
Mm-hmm.
went home that night and ate something. Well, first she threw away her medicine. My grandpa's like, "What are you doing? You're not throwing away your medicine." I guess he gets her medicine out. Then she sits down to eat. They get in this big fight, and he's like, "You're not eating that. What are you thinking?" Because he knows how she's going to be up in severe pain. That's how I heard him telling the story about it. And she did. She's never had a vomiting spell. Like she was, as far as I know, still today, like completely fine. I mean, I don't really talk to them that much. They live kind of far away, but like I said, me and my mom went to that church with them for like a little while. She ended up going to that one with my uncle after all of that stuff. But I just think that's an amazing story too because her doctor also cleared her as like a miracle, and she had also like high blood pressure and all these other things. Like all of it was just completely gone.
Is she alive still?
Yeah, she's alive still.
Okay.
I just
And
messaged her.
does she just like not go to the doctor, not take any medicine now?
Yeah, she doesn't. She hasn't since then. I mean, I don't know if she's went to the doctor like
So
for like
is she just like
anything, but
invulnerable now,
I
or
know that with the disease, because when we were going to church with them, and like I actually was living with my uncle for like a briefly in high school, and she was around, like she still hadn't went to the doctor. It had been years at that point, and she still was eating and
like
drinking.
does
Like I said, she
it
didn't
wear
drink.
off, or is she like
No,
going to live forever now?
I'm sure she's gonna probably have a like. I mean, she's aging and stuff like everybody else is, but
Well, then like how, like where's the line drawn? I guess you know, like the blood
I
pressure's
don't know.
healed, the
Well, that was
everything
another
else was
story with
healed,
tongues, and
but
I
she's
feel like
still
there's got
aging.
to be maybe something. Yeah, she still ages. Like she doesn't. She got
Hmm.
dentures and stuff the last time I saw her, so like she still
So her
goes through
teeth
like
are yeah, those
life
her teeth are
stuff,
subject to rot. Okay, so
right?
I'm just
But I think it's got to do with the tongue thing because she said the
mhm.
same thing, and it would happen like that with, and that's exactly if you look up John Smith's story. And how ironic is that? His name was John Smith from Lake St. Louis. Someone go look that up and tell him that
Are
it's
you
real.
LDS?
What's that? No, I'm not religious. I actually don't go to church,
Oh,
but I definitely
well,
like believe in the power of God for sure.
okay. So it's just interesting to me because like there's like literal verses in the Bible say like don't speak in tongues like that, and to
Really?
not like deceive people. So it's like, are you sure that it was God that was maybe helping? Maybe it was a demon.
Well, they
Like yeah,
were
it's all in like First Corinthians, like chapter 14, like that if you know if any speak in
I'll
tongue,
go
let there
look.
be only two or at most 3 in each turn, and let someone interpret. If there's no one to interpret, let them each keep silent in church and speak of himself and to God. That's 1 Corinthians 14:27 through 28. But in the church, I would rather speak 5 intelligible words to instruct others than 10,000 words in a tongue. It's just, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
I
like
think that
guidelines
is
on
like
how these like tongues are used in a public setting, and it just seems to me
that's
that
in church though, right? The whole like having an interpreter and stuff, because then there's also like the gift of tongue or something, and the gift of healing.
yeah, and so like what I would say is that what most people do when they are like speaking in tongue is like close to like glossolalia, which is just, you know, like uh what it came from actually is like the Greek myth from like the, well, actually they probably did do it, like they would give a chemical to these oracles, these young women that were in Delphi, and they would, you know, kind of like seize up and they would speak uncontrollably, and they would tell like divine, you know, like predictions, like prophecy, and that was kind of I think, you know, brought into the Jewish religion when it was being Hellenized around probably like the 1st century BCE, maybe a little bit more than that. And then that then led into, you know, like where Paul put it into Corinthians, like speaking of, you know, like if you're going to speak in tongues, I think there's like parts of Acts that also, you know, like mentions speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's, I mean, like that makes sense to me. Now, like to be filled with the Holy Spirit, and you know it's just going to make you say like you know I can do that, and that's what it sounds like what people are doing. I've heard other people like get more beatboxy with it. I've heard people like be more, you know, like rambly with it. I just, none of that seems to make sense to me. There's a
Have
lot of
you?
even like actual Christians that don't believe in speaking in tongues. Not that I'm saying that, actually, yeah, I am gonna say that what like these stories that you're telling me, I would have to see more evidence. Like I'm not gonna be able to just take your word for it. And I realized like there
Yeah.
was a movie on like probably like a
Breakthrough.
Christian channel, you know, that
It's
might
called Breakthrough.
breakthrough. Yeah.
Yeah, on
That's
that
about
guy.
them,
And
but
I did. I made the post like 4 weeks
it
ago.
would
You
be
can look on my
huge
page
news. It would be huge
about it.
news. Yeah, and I see the movie was in like 2015, or the event was in
Yeah,
2015.
I think it's about that. I know it was 11 years
It's
and
a
one day
2019
to when
film.
it
Yeah.
happened. And if you
It's a
look on my
Christian
page,
drama film directed by Roxanne Dawson, written by Grant Neoporte, based on the Christian book The Impossible, which is an account of true events, written by Joyce Smith and Ginger Kolbaba. It
that's a
so
great
let's see.
one.
Let's see if I can find anything about Mr. John Smith,
And have
Miracle
you ever heard?
Boy.
Because I've seen, I think it was on like the Sid Roth Sid Supernatural show, and
Mm-hmm.
that one is apparently a lot of those people have like medical evidence or whatever, but they said that they have like hooked up like brain scans or whatever to people who were speaking in
So
tongues, and apparently they have zero brain activity when they do. Have you ever heard it of that?
uh, brain death. There's been no like
No,
medical
no, no.
cases
They're not
of brain
dead.
death.
They're alive,
Okay.
speaking in tongues. But when they're hooked to the monitor, they have
Oh,
zero brain activity while they're speaking in tongues. No, seriously, look it up.
I mean, there are parts of the brain that like, you know, react to like language, and I believe those studies are kind of debunking the like speaking in tongue, like when people do get into this state of like glossolalia, that there's no like syntax that is related to what they're saying that could ever like be considered any type of language. uh so, you know, like and I could see where parts of the brain wouldn't like be firing off if people are speaking of this. You know, I'm also willing to look that up too.
Yeah, you should check that
Yeah,
out.
I'll check it
And
out
then
for sure.
one last thing that I
Hmm.
want to mention too. Have you? So I seen on another thing on there about how like Jesus, like the shroud of Turpin or whatever
Turin.
that was over him, Turin. Yeah.
Hmm.
So apparently, like the
It's a
blood on
hoax.
that is
No, there was
still
no blood.
alive. It's not
It's
real.
red. It's red. See, not like now it's harder to like follow what, what you're telling me if like the Shroud of Turin is convincing you,
Well,
because
that's
like
I
that
don't.
we know just from like the knitting that's done in that shroud, just that alone puts it like around, it was made around 1300 like
Oh,
CE, like current era,
yeah.
or AD, so it's like a cross ham bone stitch or something like that, which was not existent in the time of Jesus. There's also verses in the Bible that mention that Jesus was covered with multiple cloths, not just one shroud.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's just a lot, like you can actually recreate what they like considered the shroud to be doing with like here I'll let my friend DC come up. I think he and I'll let my two friends come up. They'll kind of explain the Shroud of Turin a little bit better while I research this John Smith story, because I am a little bit interested to see they're saying that he was clinically unalived for 45 minutes and made a full recovery.
He did. That's my nurse. She was telling me about it, and she was there that night. And if you look at my page too, like I said, don't forget to check out my page. It was 4 weeks ago. I was 33 weeks whenever this happened. And what are the odds? It was 11 years in one day after it happened that and I were talking about it. That's crazy.
I
But
mean,
go ahead.
DC, did you come up about the Shroud of Turin or
I was interested in the speaking of tongues.
okay? Yeah, you
I
do
had
know a little bit about
had a
speaking in
lot of
tongue.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned how to work my tongue pretty well.
So you used to speak tongues, or like not literally?
I bought a
DC,
Honda, but I should have bought a Nissan.
DC, straight to hell with you. Like, do not pass go, do not collect 100, just straight to hell with you.
Okay. So
No, yeah. Anyway, sorry about
no,
jokes.
you're fine.
I was
The Shroud
reading.
of Turin, though, I know like there's multiple ways that it's been like kind of debunked. I know that there's like red like ichor that they found there was no blood. They would be able to do like DNA research, at least like get some sort of like maybe mitochondrial DNA from it. I doubt that they would be able to get anything more than that, because it has to be pretty fresh blood in order to get like DNA evidence. I mean, I watch a lot of
That was the
forensic
thing.
files.
It was supposedly still alive. The blood was alive. Is it
No,
not?
So,
no.
And it was AB positive or
no, no,
something.
no,
It was
no,
still
no.
alive after
I
2000. That's what I
can,
thought
I
was in
can,
reading.
so, a lot of people don't know I was an art major. I was going to college, um, studying it academically. And first time I saw the Shroud of Turin, they said, yeah, this was wrapped around Jesus when he was unalived in the tomb. Right off the bat, I knew that was not possible. Um, I don't know if you guys, anybody listening in elementary school, used to make stamps out of erasers. So you just like carve little designs in them,
Yeah.
put paint on it, make little stamps.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that's what came to my mind. So when you wrap something around a person, right? Let's say they have a bunch of paint on their face, and you unwrap it, the face is going to be distorted because you can't get the
Exactly.
sides
Right.
of the face and the hair and everything else just stone where it is on the cloth, because the cloth can't account for
Yeah, they
that
call
because
it
it
like
moves, right?
the mask of Agamemnon effect. Let me see if I can
Yes.
pull up the little picture of it.
So if it was truly wrapped around someone,
Oops, on the wrong
the image
one.
of the face would have been distorted, but it wasn't. It was like a solidified face. You could see the sides of the cheeks.
Yeah, you
You
see
could
how
see in between. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it right there. That's exactly what would have happened on this shroud.
Yeah, it looks
You
kind
could
of
see in
distorted
between the
'cause it's
fingers.
like
You
it's
could
rolling
see.
on your face, you know, like stamping it
Yep.
out. Yeah.
Now, number
And not to
two.
mention, okay, go ahead.
Oh, just number two, the hair. All right. So the hair wouldn't have been perfectly shaped. It wouldn't have. It would have shown that his hair would have been stuck to the side of his face or the back of his head. Right. It wouldn't have been perfect, long flowing hair like it looks on the shroud. Right. It would have been all tucked in, wrapped together, probably some of it partially over the face, and you'll lose portions of the face because that's where the hair was. You can tell that this was some kind of a rub or I don't want to say stamp because stamps are usually, we think of stamps as small, but that's literally all it was. Like, and I know a lot of people don't realize that because, you know, not everybody is classically trained in art and whatnot, but the fact that the body is not distorted.
Yeah, there's like a
Yep,
picture right here
that's
of
exactly
a
what would
guy
have
kind of
happened right
doing
there.
what it would look like if you were to put
Yep,
the shroud on Jesus's face, like they're claiming.
Yeah.
exactly.
So
The one arm is
would look
longer to
like two
cover up his
faces.
schlong.
DC.
Something-
Like, I'm being honest.
Okay.
It really is.
Something I find interesting is what we don't find on the shroud, right? So, completely disregarding the Catholic Church, who oversees this, not confirming it as a miracle, completely disregarding the fact that it has blood, that's Jesus's blood, but we don't have Jesus's blood to compare and make sure it is. Something I find interesting is the things we don't find on the shroud. So Jewish funerary practices, you would have remnants of the oils anointed for the body, the different resins, the different gums, such as myrrh and frankincense and benzoin, that would have been used to perfume the body and to help preserve it from rot, so it can at least decay and not go rancid, because that can interfere with degradation. That's not the word I want. Decomposition.
Hold on.
And-
Taisha, Nicole, you've seen photos of a different shroud. There are like 4 different shrouds, right? Like there's even there's called like the Shroud of like Victoria or something, which is where like Jesus like cleaned his face.
Yes,
with
that's Veronica.
Or Veronica. Victoria, Veronica.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes.
Veronica.
That's what I heard too.
But yeah, it's interesting the things we don't find on the shroud that should be there if he was buried under Jewish funerary customs of his time.
And not to mention, it was like Ben was saying, the Bible clearly states he was wrapped in 2 pieces of linen. That's not even the same. So it's a great piece of art.
Right.
Amazing even, but it's definitely not JC.
Well, and the testing we also have to like acknowledge is done by like, you know, biased scientists. That like what has been published was funded by Catholic like organizations. But now back to this John Smith, that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of John Smith's miracle story, The Breakthrough, is what she was saying is the name of the movie. So it says that he went 45 minutes clinically unalived after they performed CPR for over 45 minutes, and he didn't have a pulse. Now, if you're performing CPR, I know this, like, because I was pre-med for a little bit, it is moving oxygenated blood through your system. So it can technically keep the organs alive with those chest compressions. That's why no longer anymore, like when you take CPR class, you don't have to do mouth to mouth, which a lot of people are happy about. But like the amount of oxygen that's already in your lungs is, oh, hi Bowie. Also, hi everybody else. That it gets pressed when, you know, they do those chest compressions, and that moves it through. Now, if they're doing CPR for 45 minutes, I would have to see like some sort of, I would love to see like the paperwork on that. I'm gonna have to like look into this a little bit further. If anybody wants to like do a deep dive in it, let me know also. But you know, I also don't want to like discredit like what you said with your family. I do believe that like prayer, and I do believe that like the placebo effect are things. So I do believe that when people are convinced of something, somatically things can happen. We've seen it like with cultural sicknesses, where people may think they have a certain sickness and they will actually show like physical symptoms of it, of that sickness. And I think the reverse could happen. So I don't think that there's like, you know, any magic behind it. I just think that the mind is a very powerful thing, and somatically it can cause a lot of things, perhaps even, you know, like increase in leukocytes or white blood cells, or perhaps, you know, like antibodies that do, you know, like uh, unalive the tumors, so to speak, with TikTok language. um I think that that's a thing, but I do want to like tell people to be cautious of like about faith healing, because I know for a fact that prayer would not have saved. I would not be sitting here talking to you if I just relied on prayer alone. You know, like that'd be foolish of me. Like as a cancer survivor myself, I can't. It like breaks my heart to even like try and like entertain the idea of just like faith healing alone. I mean, sometimes maybe there isn't, you know, any other option like medically, and all you have left is prayer, and that's fine. But as far as like getting like medical research and, you know, all of that done, and then like medical like help given to you, I would say go with that option. But that all being said, I think that what you have like brought to the table is very interesting, and I'm definitely going to look into it a little bit more, especially with this John Smith. And that is a little bit weird that it was, you know, only one day off of the like anniversary that you heard about it. So I don't want to discredit some of these coincidences.
And
Was that
John
the guy that was
Smith-
on Sid Roth?
Yes, yeah, he was. You've watched that?
Okay. So do you
I like
know
that.
Sid Roth just got called out? You know who
Hey, Gaster.
Mike Winger is?
No.
Okay, so he is actually a preacher, so he's a Christian as well. And he just called out Bethel and Sid Roth and a bunch of other people because Sid Roth is actually having people on that are lying and they know it. This dude was claiming, some guy that he had on as guest was called out and proven to be a false prophet, reading Facebook posts and then going to conventions because they would use a hashtag like going to Sid Roth, you know, hashtag Sid Roth today. And then he would go on their Facebook accounts to see their mother's name, where they lived, and all of this. And then he would call them out in the crowd and be like, "Are you Cynthia? Do you live on 124, you know, Sickasell Lane or whatever?" You know what I mean? Like some
Right.
crazy shit.
Who was
And
it?
then,
Do you know?
oh yeah, his name was, what is it? Michael Boyd, something like that.
I feel like that sounds familiar.
That does sound really familiar. Michael Boyd.
Is that why
Yeah.
he quit having people on his show and he only does like the interview now?
Well, that was one of the interviews that he had.
Huh, I'll have to look into
And
that.
then,
I've never heard
and
that
not only
before.
that, he had a lady that's actually in the deconstruction community now. Her name is Jezebel. He prophesied that the
I know
person he was
Jezebel.
with, that she was with, was like 10 years old or something like that. He prophesied that they were to be married. So she married this dude. He abused her. She felt like she could not get out of that relationship. And Bethel would not stop. Not only that, this prophet was doing inappropriate acts in front of his staff
Who
every
was
day.
that?
Huh?
Who was that one?
It's the same dude.
He had someone like this on his show?
Yes, and he knew about it. They called him about. Yeah, it's all about the apostolic. It's all about the apostolic movement. And you really need to double down on this because
I'm gonna write
they
that
use
down.
these things, they use these stories, and people are gullible to gain power and influence over small communities.
I
Now,
did notice some of them. I was very like Joel Osteen and stuff. It's
Mhm.
like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I noticed that how some of them, like, they do have amazing, like, miracle stories and stuff, but then, like, you look at how they live their life and, like, we're not supposed to be judging, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with
Well,
that.
there is a thing called righteous judgment, which you are allowed to do.
Yeah.
Benny, if it's
What's up?
okay, can I touch base on the tongues thing? Because that's
Yeah,
originally
yeah,
why
go.
I
Yeah,
had
do.
to.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry. I like it's been. I'm a little rusty when it comes to the like tongues stuff.
We're just all
So
over the place.
glossolalia. I remember that.
I'm gonna behave, I promise. So, I was a hardcore devout Pentecostal for 16 years, right? And we would go to different various worship services, including our own in-house church, and everybody seemed to speak tongues no matter where we went. It was really big within evangelistic circles.
Mhm.
But when you actually look in the Bible, you automatically go, "Oh, everyone who speaks in tongues is full of shit." This is why. The gift of tongues is just the gift to be able to understand the nations around you. So let's say Benny only spoke straight up Italian and I only spoke up straight English, right? Now, if we had the gift of tongues, he would speak in Italian, but I could understand him in English. And
Yeah,
then
that's how like I understood it from
the
like
other way
Acts.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like these people, there are a lot that fake it, like that one woman preacher who is like, Hadak, Hadak, God, the angels are coming from Africa. Like, she is so full of shit. It's not even
Oh
funny.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
tell she's
Paula
faking it.
White. Paula
Paula
White.
Um,
White. Yeah.
yeah, Paula White. But then you get the ones in the churches who think they're actually speaking in tongues. You can get that same sort of inner excitement from going to a concert. You
Mm.
can get it from going to Tomorrowland. We see it in little kids that really start stimming, and all of a sudden they just start going. It's the exact same thing. So,
Yeah, and that's why like I was gonna say like different parts of the brain will fire off
yeah,
because they're not
yeah.
related to any type of like actual language. There's no syntax to it.
Exactly. So when they say that there is power in tongues, I cringe a bit because that's literally not even biblical. Biblically, tongues is just being able to understand the people around you that speak a different language. So, like post Babylon or pre Babylon.
I
So
think the muddiness comes up when you compare Acts and Corinthians. I think that's where people get confused.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Acts, it speaks of you just being able to have knowledge of the nation you're evangelizing to, whatever
Mhm.
their local language is. Which is interesting to note that in the Roman Rite, that's actually one of the, we'll say symptoms, requirements for demon possession, actually. Having knowledge of language that you wouldn't otherwise have knowledge of.
Yes.
But that's a whole other thing. And then in Corinthians, it's there are requirements that there has to be an interpreter. It's meant to be like an
there's like two
inspired
people have
thing.
to be in there, and they have one has to interpret, and yeah, that does seem to
It
be a
says the
little bit
language of
more.
angels even in one spot.
Yeah, but I doubt the angels are up there in heaven going hamana shamana hamana hamana. Like, no.
I mean,
Never know.
I don't even know where heaven would be, but all right. Well, Ciara, I think the most interesting thing that you brought forth that doesn't have me just like completely siding with these three skeptics is this John Smith. I do see that there are some attempts scientifically to explain John Smith's situation, but just
I
from
will say it's giving Ron Wyatt, this story of
a
John
little
Smith.
bit, but
Oh my gosh.
like from the like I guess people that were involved, doctors included, they don't have like a purely like and this medical examiners, they a lot of times will just say unknown cause of death, or maybe unknown non-cause of death. They do say that hypothermia could be an explanation to why he was able to stay alive.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy who got stuck down in the ocean, right? They
Yeah,
were
and it was
working down
over
there.
Lake.
it was over 40
Oh,
degrees,
okay.
so it wasn't below
Yeah.
freezing. Now the CPR,
Would
like
there
I
be
said,
ice
could
then?
was that?
Would there be ice still if it was 40 degrees?
Well, I mean, ice on the top,
No.
possibly, but
Oh.
like below that, where like if you're falling in the water, it would be
Apparently
like
he flew
all
through
full ice.
fell through the ice.
Yeah, so he probably fell through the ice and was under, and they said it was around 40 degrees. That can slow things down, but there is no like definitive thing out there to like debunk this, other than kind of Occam's razor type of explanations, like, okay, the cold, hypothermia, pushing the oxygenated blood through their system. They don't have an explanation, it appears, just from this like kind of top down look. And I want to be fair, about these things. So that they can't really explain why he didn't have any like brain damage. So interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Now the movie I'm guessing I am gonna watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I might get a little elevated and have a little look see because I love like just ridiculous like cheesy movies. But
Christian movie night.
That's gonna be right. That's gonna probably be mostly propaganda. I'm guessing. I mean I've seen like literal like where there's like a unalived bird, like it had like its head like lobbed off, and like a little girl like whispers this like secret to it through Jesus, and like the bird in the movie. I'm just saying, like they will go to great lengths in these movies to propagandize and to try and convince people.
We just watched that movie not too long ago, and I don't remember too much praying. It's just when they got him back up in the thing, they started immediately doing CPR, and they weren't stopping, and it was just the two guys.
Yeah, they did CPR for 45 minutes
working on
straight.
him. Yeah, but I don't remember a whole lot of, prayer, heavy duty, hands on, prayer going on. It's a curious case for sure, but to automatically say Jesus, I don't know.
Are we talking about the breakthrough case still?
Yeah. Before we move on anymore, Daniel from YouTube gave $2, says love you and the work you're doing, Benny, and I love you too, Daniel. Thank you so much. That goes towards the Deconstruction Junction community, which is something that I do want to like pitch here. Sierra, I appreciate you for coming up. I'll probably move on and we'll have to reconvene once I find out a little bit more. Yeah, sure.
What was that movement you said that they were deconstructing Sibs Roths? It started with the A, I think. Something. Did you say? I think it was the D guy down there.
Deconstruction
DC
had made mention of the people outing Sid Roth.
Oh yeah, it's the new apostolic. It's the new apostolic. What is it? New apostolic movement.
Okay, I'm gonna check into that. I'm curious what other.
It's NAR. Just look up NAR.
Okay.
Reformation.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up.
Last thing, if you ever want, just ask him to reveal himself to you, and I believe he really will.
Come on.
I assumed you didn't. I don't know.
Mean. That's mean. Like
sorry.
now you're
Yeah,
inferring that I
no
like was never sincere enough or something.
I know that you prayed and stuff you mentioned, but I guess I was just forgetting that, and I thought that you were probably like a lifelong skeptic. But yeah, you
Jesus,
did say that. I'm sorry.
Show yourself. I'm like serious right now. I'm like 100%.
Expose me, Jesus.
Jesus. Oh, look at everybody look. Oh my
gosh, it's a miracle.
My gosh.
But seriously, look her up. Her name's Akian Kramirik, and she was 8 years old when she painted that. It's an amazing story. Her family didn't believe in him either, really. Like they are all like non-religious still today.
So she like painted an Anglo-looking Jesus.
Yeah, she did. You have to seriously Akian, Akiane.
You know somebody is legit when they're painting white Jesus. Like I'm just.
I'm sure that.
I think he's Middle East now. I didn't whenever I got it, but yeah.
Once again, I think the brain is a Well, thank you. I got to do a little bit of pitch and everything, so I do appreciate it. I think the brain is a very strong thing, and I think that what you've given me is very interesting, to say the least. So thank you. I
All
appreciate
right.
this.
Well,
Here,
thank you guys,
you're more than
and
welcome to come
have a
back on
great
again.
day.
Yeah,
I'll
you
put her
too.
name down there. You can look her up too.
Okay. All right. So before I move on, yeah, I do believe that the brain is a very powerful thing. I think that it is even so powerful that a little girl can end up painting a very realistic, idea of Jesus, especially when it is like an
Like the
anglicized,
iconic picture,
yeah, like uh,
like nothing new.
the Vesuvian man from like, yeah, it's just it's too white. I'm sorry, guys. Like Jesus was Middle Eastern, so I would believe that if somebody were to like paint a real Jesus, he would look a little bit Middle Eastern. He's at least described somewhat as such. Coming from Israel and maybe possibly Egypt. So what's
Yeah,
up?
like I think people seem to forget prodigies do exist. I was lucky enough to meet one, and
Mm-hmm.
he was in kindergarten, and that kid could draw. Like it was insane. It's the same type of kids who will play on the piano a couple of times, and then all of a sudden they can do Mozart. Like prodigies do exist. Just because she happened to paint YT Jesus doesn't mean Jesus. It just means that,
Yeah, and
holy
I think
shit, her
she
parents
was.
got a prodigy.
Yeah, and I'll give it up to Ciara there. I think that she was a good sport about it. I think that it's all interesting. I don't think that miracles are going to be what's going to sway me because, again, like, what's to say that this isn't like a demon that's doing these
Hmm.
miracles? In disguise, right? Like, especially if there's verses against some things like speaking in tongues in the actual scripture, then it
Yeah.
and like you guys said, it's more kind of demon related too. So it could be that I should actually be, looking more into these demons if I want to get healed
Right.
because, prayer didn't seem to work for me. But medicine and science did. So I will
Hmm.
say that people should do that if they have medical problems, not just rely on prayer. Uh, that being said, I once again I do want to pitch the Deconstruction Junction community. So what that is we have a Discord. You can get there by deconstructionjunction.net. You can get to the Discord by typing in discord.gg/deconjct. It is a Discord that I created. Mainly it started off as like a way to like chat with people like DC, Justin, and many other, like, I'm talking like Deconstruction Zone, Justin, Joel reads Bible, Mezzo, Thinker, uh I'm trying to think, Crystal J, a lot of people that you see on the Deconstruction spaces over here on TikTok and on YouTube. We do a lot of things. There's actually going to be a Valentine's ish like type of little kind of meet and greet and meet cute kind of thing that we're doing in the Discord. So we have events, we have drives that we do also that we try and help out people whenever they need money. We also have community outreach, so people can put up like their Venmo or what have you. Sorry, I didn't want to say that on TikTok. And people that may have the means could give them. We also, Justin himself has a nonprofit. We are still working on getting the bank and everything worked out. I am on the board of directors with him on it. So it is a real thing. It is a real nonprofit. It's just we've had a lot of trouble getting things worked out. We have a little bit of money in there from donations, and we do want to use that money to help out others. But PayPal would not let us use it. They would not let us access it. So the bank would then also not let us get gift cards because it does seem a little scammy when you try and get gift cards with money that you've raised. So I get it, but once we get everything settled with that, I know Justin's a busy guy. He has some recent stuff going on with in his personal life that he needs to kind of probably handle first. I know that firsthand with my own personal life that I had to take a break from everything. So I get it. That all being said, join the Deconstruction Junction community. We take people of all faiths. We just really want to focus on critical thinking, and maybe not just taking everything at face value. And that's kind of what I was trying to show here with Sierra. That all being said, I do want to thank you guys for all coming up. How was everybody doing? How are you doing, Cedar? How you doing, Nick? How you doing, DC? Long time no talk, DC, by the way. Don't everybody speak at once.
I think the last time we talked was when you had that Israeli or the dude that's running for mayor.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
From Israel.
Oh gosh, yeah. That was wild. That is like one of the wildest conversations. You can find that on the Tube of You, YouTube. I mean, I do have that conversation kind of broken down between him and a Groiper. First, it was a Groiper. Then it was this guy who was running for mayor of Tel Aviv. And then he admitted that he wanted to be emperor of the planet.
Don't we all?
And like the first step was going to be through being mayor of Tel Aviv. And it's like,
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
I was trying to ask him what his platform was and everything, because it's like, if you're going to run for mayor, lofty goals, right, Janet? If you're going to run for mayor, you better have some sort of platform you're going to run on. And he was basically like, I'll just make everybody rich.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. And then I also was asking him, like, why would you want to be emperor of a planet? Like, honestly, I would not want that type of responsibility, first off. And second off, like, you've already gained everything. Like, there's nothing more to gain, right? Unless you're taking over other planets. I guess maybe that's what maybe he wants to be like emperor of the galaxy. Maybe he should just start with Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv, yeah, that's going to be his best bet, and just work his way up the ladder from there, and then he can talk to the Galactic Council afterwards and see how that goes for him.
He'll have to fight Elon Musk for Mars.
Yeah, seriously. While we're sitting here kind of chatting, make sure to tap on that screen if you're watching on TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, you can join the call. If you join through YouTube, though, I do have to drop everybody that's on TikTok, unfortunately, because I do not know how to bridge the audio still. I had it working at one time. I'm just going to have to call Justin sometime, and we'll have to figure that out. But
you try unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Yes, I have. They can hear you guys. They can hear you guys. It's just, and you can hear them if you aren't a guest. And I know it has something to do with this like secondary TikTok studio program that's running in the background and what I have going on with like audio cables and stuff. But I didn't want to keep like pushing off the show while I was doing that. So also, if you are a Christian, go on.
Does it have to do with the overlay thing? Because I know way back when I used to online game, I had to make sure that the voice program we were using was overlaid over the game. Otherwise, we won't be able to hear anyone.
I got it working once, and it was only with Justin's help. And every single time I open up TikTok Studio, if I like close it completely, it will reset everything. So I have to like try and do all of these steps. It's like at least like 10 steps of different things, and having like a virtual cable. It's also like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. If somebody like on TikTok wanted to like get in on the conversation, you could just also type in that like URL on your phone and just like get on Video Ninja that way. And we could definitely just continue the conversation there that way. That being said, if anybody in here wants to convince me to become a Christian, there is a little pink and blue like little person button here to get up on to the stream. You can kind of give me perhaps like your testimony, I guess. You could give me reasons why I should become a Christian. Maybe it's better off for me economically. or maybe there's like a whole, miracle aspect to it. Now that one didn't quite work with me as much, but maybe there's another miracle out there that I'm not aware of. While we're waiting though, just please tap on the screen, share it out. And yeah, feel free to even share it out to your favorite Christian, and hopefully we can get somebody up here. So, any interesting conversations or outcomes that you guys have come across since our last speaking?
Oh God.
I mean, other than Nick, I see you're no longer a Catholic potlucker. Hey, Blackers.
Oh no, I'm still a Catholic potlucker. I
Oh,
just
okay.
yeah, you know, where I live, my people aren't welcome in those buildings, so it's kind of more of an online thing now.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, I have to bring my own sandwich. You know, I can't have Becky's sandwiches anymore or
Oh,
Linda's potato salad.
you got to make
You
it
know,
yourself.
I gotta make it
Oh,
myself.
that's
It's really,
lame.
really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that
I've been
is.
going to this church.
You have.
Sorry, Benny.
No, go
Yeah, I
on.
have been.
DC.
I've been going to this
You've been going to
church.
church, huh?
Yeah, like this past Wednesday, they had a thing called "Can you hear me?" and it's about marginalized voices.
Uh-huh.
And so they have like homelessness was their last one,
Uh-huh.
and they had a few people that actually went through homelessness in our town, and they talked about how they got through it and the places that we can donate to and how we can help. And then we've been getting with this pastor. He actually is moving to a different country, Croatia, but he started a thing called Circle of Friends. And we've all of us atheists have gotten like we've infiltrated this group. And so like the last meeting there was like 7 atheists and like 1 Christian, and it was the pastor that started it. Anyways,
That reminds
but
me
it's
of,
actually a really good time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I mean, it's possible for everybody to kind of get together. Yeah, like we can have these like logical, philosophical debates and whatnot, but like when it comes down to it, like all I care about more than anything is that we, just treat each other equally, right? And like even kind of just if you are a Christian, just keep it to yourself. Just don't force it on anybody, or tell them that they're gonna burn
like we all
eternally
pitched
when you
in.
can't prove that. But yeah, go on.
Get this, Benny. We all pitched in and we donated over $200 for like a local, like a food bank thing that they're doing.
That's awesome.
And the food bank thing teamed up with the Islamic Center in the town.
Okay.
So we actually had to take the food to the Islamic Center. So it's like, holy shit, I'm working with all these faiths that I argue with online. It is really refreshing though.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, I think, to like bridge the gap a little bit at least. I mean, ideally, I would say, just as an agnostic, I mean, and not everybody on panel is an agnostic atheist, I might say. But is that correct? I mean, Nick or Cedar, have you either of you changed, or DC? I don't know where anybody stands anymore. It's been a bit
I'm
since I've asked that
Oh,
question.
I'm an atheist.
mess.
I'm sure there's a word for it, but like within my religion, it's just not really a big deal.
Right.
It's not something we focus on.
Right. Yeah. And Cedar, can you for the crowd let everybody know what kind of practice you practice?
So I am a Vajrayana Buddhist who practices primarily in the Karma Kagyu lineage, but I do carry transmission from the Nyingma as well.
I knew some of those words. But so yeah, like for a lot of people in the Buddhist faith, it seems that you can be willing to have a greater power god, or the opposite. I think it's more about, I guess, what would you say that it's more about? I don't like to generalize something that I'm not too familiar with.
Well, Buddhism as a whole is just about getting out of suffering, how to manage suffering, how to deal with suffering, how to, especially in the Vajrayana, bring samsara and nirvana together. They are not ultimately separate. But yeah, it's just a path of reducing suffering.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, I do have somebody in the box, so I'm gonna drop everybody, if that's all right. I mean nothing about it. I just want to keep it kind of
No, I'm
one-on-one.
afraid to fight. I'm afraid to fight.
No joke. I gotta go.
It tends to bring a little bit of the crowd too, once it gets a little bit more interesting, once there's a little bit of opposition. So I appreciate you all for coming up, and maybe I'll have you back up here shortly. But I love you all, and bye-bye.
Much love, Benny.
All right. Let's see. Next person is Elijah.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Elijah, can I get your age just real quick for terms of service reasons?
69.
69.
Almost 70.
69 years young.
Almost 70.
My father is 69. So
Right on,
Elijah,
brother. How are you today, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you? What brings you on today?
Well, I was just reading, I go through here and scroll, and check out everybody that likes to talk about God, whether they're atheist or no matter who.
Right. Yeah. So I would say that I'm agnostic. I'm open.
There you go, brother. Open mind, right?
Right. So what would you consider yourself?
Well, I'm just, I used to walk just like Jesus. I'm not really religious. I'm more of a spiritual person, living a spiritual life, meaning just love one another, just love everybody, right?
Okay.
And
I'm cool with that, right? Like
the difference between the,
okay.
Yeah. And like I said, people think it's about religion when you talk about God, but God is not a religion, and he didn't make himself a religion. And my idea or my interpretation is that all the religions are man-made, and that's just their interpretation of God, right? And in the scripture, they call it doctrines of men. Meaning that's how they interpret it as a religion.
So I would say that there's definitely interpretations, right? There's like so many. I mean, there's like the Mormon faith. I mean, just in Christianity alone.
There you go.
There's a lot of different
denominations.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Buddhist, Baptist,
Jewish,
Hare
Muslim.
Krishna.
right. So Elijah,
how many? Right, thousands.
So are you more Christian leaning, or are you?
It said in the scriptures. I'm sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
I'm a what?
I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to place where you're at.
I'm
like
trying
if you're
to talk one at a time.
Yeah, and there might be a bit of a lag between us to where we're, it seems like we're talking over each other.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what's going on, brother. There's a lag in the internet.
Yeah, that happens. It certainly happens.
Basically, like I said, I'm part of a group or a brotherhood that lives spiritually. And the way we lived is we walked just like Jesus, town to town in our bare feet. And just like we wore white robes, we walked town to town, just talking to people, not a religion, but talking another way of looking at Jesus as being like everyone's family, everyone's brothers and sisters. And it doesn't matter what country or what religion you believe in, everybody's got a right to think the way they think. And my interpretation is that the religions are just basically it's a man-made interpretation of the book. You read the book and you memorize it, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be living what the book teaches.
So are you saying that that would you consider like the group that you were or are a part of, like more true to like the Old Testament, or like the Holy Bible, like the Christian New Testament, Old Testament combined?
Right.
So I'm just trying to kind of figure out.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, let me put it a different way. It's like if I wanted to be a mechanic, I could read a book, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
you
then
can't just like snap your fingers and be a mechanic.
I can read that. Yeah. So there's a difference between reading what's written in the book than picking up a wrench and getting greasy and get under the hood and change change out your engine or whatever the
Sure.
problem is.
Okay.
See, the experience is the real teacher. See, so there's a difference between memorizing all the book and then actually go walk like the book said to do. Like
Yeah.
Jesus walked town to town as a brother to all men. And he didn't go in judgment. He went to fulfill everybody and to fulfill the scripture, meaning to live it, practice what you preach.
Okay.
You understand, brother?
Yeah, I actually do understand like what you're talking about there. I mean, Jesus is written down as saying those things.
Right.
And it does seem like a lot of people
Right.
that call themselves Christian nowadays, and that's kind of why I have this like topic, is because there's a lot of people that
Cool.
that would try and say like the more of the white Christian nationalist type of lifestyle is more Christian, right? Than what is maybe written down or shown by the acts of Jesus as the character within the Bible as described. I would say that just from history and my own experiences, I'm more of a kind of a realistic type of person. I don't think that I haven't seen any actual real magic that I could think of. If so,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I've never seen a person raised from the dead. I've never seen somebody turn like water into wine, that sort of thing. But now, like some cool guy just walking down the street, or he could have been a little wacky and saying that the world was coming to an end because things were looking bad. I mean, hey, have you looked around lately? Sometimes it does look bad every once in a while. Climate change and riots and people getting beat up and fighting each other.
Yeah,
it's possible to take those events and to say like, hey, follow me. I just want to express love for each other, and a lot of people like that, and they kind of organize, and then we have more of maybe this type of like what you are presenting. It does seem a little bit organized, but it does seem to maybe take a little bit less.
There's a bit.
Go on.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a whole group of us that actually did that, and we don't we're not, like I said, a religion, although they refer to us that, they used to say Hare Krishna, and then we would yell back at them, no, we're the hairy Christians. Because we got long hair, we got long hair and beards, and
okay,
and the point is it's not, Jesus didn't come to force anybody. He just says, he would say, go check it out, man. Like if you think that's what feels right or sounds right to you, go look into it, go do it, go check it out, and then you'll experience the good and the bad, or the ins and the outs, right? You'll check it out to see for yourself.
Right.
And that's why I say it's not a religion. It's a journey, a spiritual journey that everybody has to take inside their own hearts to connect with the spirit within you, the Holy Spirit, or the love in your heart. It says God is spirit and love, right?
Okay, so
it's not a religion. It's a journey.
Right. I want to see a little bit more about like what you believe. So do you believe in like hell and heaven? Are these like, I mean, you said spiritual. So I'm trying to kind of like maybe narrow down a little bit.
Yeah, but
like the doctrine that you may kind of like personally believe in. So I can kind of figure out where you kind of stand on like it.
Yeah.
Are you more of a like Gnostic, or are you
okay? Well, can I explain that one?
Sure.
Yeah. Heaven would be like the connection to what they say, the spirit within you, the Holy Spirit, the higher consciousness, right? So it'd be like that place in heaven where there's no war, no peace, a peace, everything's love, and the paradise, right? Heaven, like if heaven came to earth. and it would be a peaceful thing for everybody. And
Okay.
it's a spiritual thing, experience. It's not just your physical consciousness or your physical mind. You also have a spiritual consciousness and a spiritual mind that is an invisible thing for most people. They can't see God, or they can't see the spirit, just like the wind. You can't see it, but you can see how the wind affects other things when you make steps in that direction, or you open your eyes to see the effects.
Okay.
So everything is like what you put out comes back to you, even in thought. See, so you can think about something and then you can go, oh, well, that don't sound right. So it'll change the way you think because it didn't agree with you.
Okay.
It didn't make sense, right?
Right. So like I would say that would be
Okay,
more related
so
to like
that's heaven.
evolution and like maybe instinct.
No, that would be.
See, I don't believe,
Well,
I guess
yeah,
personally,
you could
as
call it that, but
of like this like eternal soul, because we don't really have any proof of one. I just haven't seen any evidence
yeah, it's
of such a
invisible.
thing. Right. So
It's
I
like
mean,
a ghost. Like you haven't seen a ghost, but if you did, then you would believe. Or like if you ain't ever seen a UFO, you don't believe in them. But if
Right.
you've seen a UFO, you would probably believe it because there it is right there. It's flying around in the sky,
yeah, I mean, I've
see
seen
what
some
I'm
weird
saying?
stuff in the sky before,
Now the difference.
but I haven't seen.
Okay,
I don't know
that's
if
what
I
I
would
have
say it's
too. See, that's what I'm
otherworldly
saying.
or like I guess there's a few different
Or
they-
man-made.
ball lightning. Yeah, it could be satellite reflecting sunlight. There's a lot of different debunkers out there. I think it was Harry Houdini.
Or stolen technology.
Or
right?
not Harry Houdini. It's actually a Sherlock Holmes quote, that says like if you can rule out all natural causes, then you can start to consider the supernatural. And I think that that's a pretty smart thing to go by.
Okay, well, right. Well, you have basically the things that you see and know in the physical universe, meaning physical, metaphysical reality. That like you can knock on wood and you hear it, right?
Mhm.
Well, you also have an invisible world that you can't see, which is the spirit or the Holy Ghost, the spirit.
Mhm.
Like angels are a spiritual entity in light form. It's like a ghost, seeing a ghost.
Or perhaps an
So,
alien.
That's a different realm. That's a different it's like a different dimension, brother, right?
Okay.
You can't see it with your eyes or hear it with your ears, but if you move into those actions, there's going to be reactions by moving into the action. See, if you
Okay.
put it out there, it's going to come back. Okay. Now,
Okay.
that's
Keep going.
what we call a spiritual journey, meaning even if you think a thought, you can sit there in your head and you can observe and feel what you feel in that thinking, that train of thought. And it either pans out or it don't. Right?
Right.
It's like looking for gold. You either find the gold or you don't.
Right.
You look under a rock and there might be some gold there, but you look under that other rock and there ain't no gold.
Right.
So basically you have a spiritual universe and you have a physical universe.
Okay.
Heaven is the spiritual universe, okay? In the spiritual form, it's like seeing a ghost. It's a light created being of light.
So
that's why it's called the Holy Ghost.
So it's
a
made of
ghost.
like photons?
It's another form, not
or light in like a more
right,
like a
light.
Wait, light like
as bright
like
as the sun.
Like what's reflecting off my greasy head right now?
Like well, okay, like if you look in a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you see the image in the mirror, but that ain't you, that's a reflection.
Right, those are photons.
The image you see in the mirror is just
right?
a reflection of light.
Okay.
Okay, but you're standing in front of the mirror, right? So that's you, that's reality. But what you see in the mirror is an image or a reflection. Well, the same thing in your physical body is the reflection that you're seeing in the mirror from the spiritual body that you have inside you.
So
in heaven, everyone's created spirit in the image of God.
So were we all created like in the beginning at once, or was this like spirit
right.
sort of born when we were like our bodies were born? So the fact that I can't remember before I was born,
of God, which is spirit.
Okay. I'm just trying to think, like, because I can't remember before I was born, right? So like my brain was needed maybe to form memories. So this
physical.
So the spirit doesn't have maybe memories
in the physical. No, it does. It just it's the perfected consciousness, or the perfect state of being.
Okay.
It's where you perfected you progress to perfection instead of any flaws or any darkness or any lies or any evil or wickedness, or fallen away from that spiritual entity, that spiritual being. See, you were created spirit in the image and likeness of God. So was everybody else. You know, that's why they say there's one God, and then everything else is created from him. All things.
Okay.
You catch that?
I just, I'm. How did you figure all this out?
It's not a religion.
Okay.
Well, because I walked like Jesus, brother, town to town, and got to see what he's seen, and I got to feel what he feel, and I got to see miracles along the way. Like I said, you can read the book and still not, I mean, you can memorize all the words, but if you don't live it, then you don't understand what it really says. You just got, it's like a robot being, a computer being programmed with the tape. Or it's like giving lip service, but not practicing what you preach.
Okay.
You catch what I'm saying?
Yeah. You said miracles earlier.
It's a state of mind.
What kind of miracles did you see or experience, I guess? Like, you're saying a lot of things that, you know, like I'm picking up. I'm picking up what you're saying here. Like, yeah, you know, you get around, you experience things, you talk to people, you learn, and
there you go, brother.
You become enlightened. So it does kind of sound like more of like a Gnostic form of Christianity that is less about salvation and helping people get to heaven and judgment. And it's more about learning, I guess, and experience, and maybe that kind of golden rule of, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated. Does that make more like sense?
Yeah, right
like,
on, brother.
In regards to how you really, okay, so you would be like deemed a heretic though, right? From like the Catholics, but I'm guessing that would not be a big,
because you know. Well, no, you're right. See, people, just like they treated Jesus, there are a lot of people that loved him, and they were able to see themselves, or meaning see him and you, that he came as your brother, as an equal. He didn't force you to believe the way he was. He just came as like family, right? He came as your brother, and equal to you. He didn't force you to follow him. He said, well, you know, you can do your thing, man. That's cool, but there is another way, you know, that God provided for everyone, and that's to go walk and to live and practice what you preach. Meaning, like if you wrote a book, Star Wars, you can read the book, but you can only get it such a picture. Well, they made a movie too, right?
Right.
They didn't just write the book; they made a movie of Star Wars.
So, like to be more like
so
Star
you
Wars.
Go to the movie.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I get what you're. I mean, I'm sort of. I'm just trying to see here, like where the, you know, like, you know, I get like being nice to others, going around and speaking to others. Communication's a big deal, right? I think that those are all fine things to go by, but when it comes to like whether or not I should become like Christian, I'm just not quite seeing it, because like you're not giving me like any kind of like example, I guess, of, you know, like these miracles, like proof of, you know, why Christianity might be more legitimate than, say, like Hinduism or, you know, Muslim religion.
Okay, well, those are labels, right? See, those are labels they each, like you could be a
Well, I
Mormon,
mean, there's
so you're a
doctrine
Mormon.
behind them,
You're
right?
a Baptist, so you're a Baptist. Well, yeah, let's say doctrine, meaning how they interpret that doctrine, meaning their way of thinking about it, their interpretation. So that's why there's so many religions, because everybody has a different point of view or a different interpretation on the written book.
Right.
But when you go walk it town to town like a disciple or like the prophets did, meaning they were called by God, and there are different callings, right? So the highest calling would be to go like a prophet or a disciple, and you go take your shoes off. You don't take any money with you, and you go walk town to town with no money, and then you go talk to people about God. And as you go on that road trip, you get to experience and see things differently.
Kind of like Forrest Gump
So
did.
you don't go and go next town and go, huh?
Like how Forrest
What's
Gump.
that?
Like, have you ever seen that movie Forrest Gump?
A long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a guy that just kind of walks around
Yeah,
and experiences all these different things. I don't know if he really comes out any better, or like more enlightened from it. But personally, I think that if you went through a lot of different things, you probably would come out of the other end pretty experienced. So I guess I get that
Right.
part. But I'm trying to like legitimize the Christianity part of it. Like where does Jesus come in? Like other than like,
well, that's a good
be
point.
like Jesus, right? But I could also say be like Buddha, right? Or because I mean Buddha did very similar things.
Yeah.
Too. So I don't know.
Right, exactly, just like Jesus.
So you're saying kind of don't put a
So
label
there's a
on it.
difference.
There's a difference. Okay. Explain that difference.
Yeah, there's a difference between, one is you're experiencing it and it's happening to you, and the other you're just reading it from the book and making an interpretation of what you're reading out of the book.
Okay.
So there's a difference between
kind of like
what you
James's
interpret the book
scripture,
to be,
like faith and acts kind of thing, like
any of them.
Like it's
Any
more
of
about
them.
what you do than what you like what you're preaching. So it's more about like what you do. Is that what you mean?
Well, it's more like your point of view, meaning how you perceive it and how you experience it. So, everybody's on different paths and everybody has different experiences. So they see it from a different point of view.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Because they had a different experience.
And I
it's like being.
I think
it's like
I
being
try
on
to
a
do
big
that.
ship.
Like a big liner,
Right.
like an
Well,
ocean
that's what's
liner.
happening. Yeah, and it has those portholes, the windows.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking out one porthole, and the next guy's looking out another porthole. So he's seeing it from different points of view according to his understanding or his experience. So it's a different, porthole is a different point. He's seeing it from his angle. You're seeing it from your angle, from another porthole.
I understand.
And that's what reality is.
I understand, subjective experience and taking into account
different points of view.
Yeah, different points of view. I would say that it's more of a, just something we observe as humans. I'm still not seeing like the Christian aspect of this, but perhaps you're not like trying to convince me to become Christian, which is what I'm asking people to kind of come up here and do. But like, hey, I'm not saying that I'm not picking. Right. I like the fact that you're not forcing it on me or anything, and you're just saying, hey,
I would
go walk around, maybe be a little bit like Jesus.
What I would say,
okay,
right, and by doing that, by living those actions, see, for every action there's a reaction. It's science, right?
Yeah.
Or what you sow is what you reap.
Okay.
See, so if you plant an apple seed, you're going to grow an apple tree, not peaches or pears.
I mean, you
right?
got to take care of it. You got to water it, and you got to make sure that rabbits don't come chew it up.
Amen.
Okay, I see a little bit what you're saying here. Some like practical things that could be used to kind of be
Yeah.
kind of more chill with the life and
Well, consciousness.
Okay, go on. Yes, consciousness. That's interesting.
Well, conscious awareness means what you're consciously aware of, meaning what you've experienced through your point of view. And we all have similar points of view, but it also differs between all of us.
Yeah, I think that
we all see it from a different angle.
Yeah, I would call that empathy.
Okay.
I think that that's something that some people have and are very in touch with, and other people, may not be so in touch with, either because of predispositions or human experience,
different understandings.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, different understandings or different conscious awareness.
These are all interesting ideals, but you're still not convincing me to become a Christian. But then again, I don't think that that's your goal. So I do appreciate what you're saying.
What is a Christian?
To me, I think
what does the word Christian mean?
A Christian believes in like a everlasting soul. So I guess you do check that box. A Christian believes in a higher, creator. So you believe that the earth, the universe, is not eternal, right? That it had a creative, somebody created it, right? Or something created the universe. Is that correct?
Yeah, God.
Okay. Now Christians.
Now check it out, Christian. If you look it up in Webster's dictionary, Christian, the definition of Christian means Christ-like, that you're just like Christ.
Okay.
That's what Christian means, Christ-like. So if you practice Buddhism, then you're a Buddha. If you practice Christianity, you're Christ-like. You live like what he taught.
Then why do
that's what Christianity is? It's a label
Christian,
they call Christians,
but they don't.
Right.
Like some people, there's stories of Jesus helping out, like a prostitute, right? In the Bible. I know for a fact that there's some Christians out there that would not do that, but they would call themselves Christian. So you're saying that they're not being Christ-like, so they aren't Christian.
So, no, I don't judge them. I don't judge them. I just discern between what's true and what's really reality, right? For my understanding.
Okay.
And I don't put a judgment on them. I just say, okay, brother, if that's the way you think and that's the way you believe, go check it out. Go look at it. Go down that road and check it out. And you'll find out, right?
Gotcha.
Because it's the same. There's always, if you want to be a Baptist, go be a Baptist and go do it.
But
if you want to be a Buddha, go do that.
Okay.
But you're going to learn something from it.
Gotcha.
Right?
So maybe try every
it's not 100%
religion
correct.
And see what maybe fits you best. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well, you can't. Well, I'm just saying there's a different calling. That there's the highest calling, which is being like Jesus, a disciple, walking town to town and going out on the road and living like a disciple, or like the prophets did, right? They left everything behind, took no shoes with them, walked barefoot, and they took no money, and they would go to town. They look for the people with good-hearted people, and then they would talk about God to those good-hearted people.
Right. And I guess that's where I want to narrow it down. Is okay. Jesus himself was more of a Judaizer, is the way that when I read the Bible and any kind of story of Jesus, he really wasn't a Christian. He was more.
I'll just say that it wasn't.
Okay.
I'll say it this way: it was a spiritual journey. It wasn't religion whatsoever. Gotcha. Religion is all man-made.
Okay.
All these different religions are man-made, hand down through history.
Now
whether
that I
Buddhist,
can agree with.
Baptist, Zionist. Yeah. See, those are man-made. That's a religion. If you look it up, religion means way of life in the dictionary. It's just a way of life, your way of believing in God. It's a way of life. That's what religions mean. But Jesus didn't come as a religious figure. That's what they turned him into. Same with the prophet Elijah. He didn't come as some, Jewish or this guy or that guy. He came as your brother, as a messenger, right? Same with the disciples. They were messengers, meaning they came to everybody not as a religion, but as a spiritual walk, a spiritual journey that they were on for their calling to live as a disciple or to be called as a prophet.
So,
and they heard the call from God in their spirit.
Okay.
And then they went on the journey.
Gotcha. So
it wasn't a religion.
I personally, now I've given you some time here to make your case. And now here's my case. So
there you go, brother.
Yeah, hold on.
There you go.
I've been patient with you, so I want you to listen. Now, I would actually say that what you're saying is nice. It sounds great. And it sounds like, all happy and like, like kind of like hippie, like, yeah, cool. But now there's things that you have to realize, like what you're perpetuating, right? So I would say that religious thought, especially Christian thought, has actually held us back from a lot of things like technology, science, like progress in general. That you can't just, gain by walking around without money and talking to other people. I think that that's great. I think that multiculturalism, which is what you're kind of like describing, is a very good thing for humans to practice. I think isolationism is not so great when it comes to progress. Now, that I would say is more of a sociological point, not a religious point. I would say that the definition of religion, according to Oxford, is the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially of a god or gods. What you've been describing to me seems less spiritual and more just kind of like a sociological stance or like a ethical stance to take. Which, hey, I'm not against that. But I would say that, magical thinking, especially when it comes to things like perpetuating Christianity in like general, can lead to things like people being pushed away. People like it can lead to wars. It can lead to people not getting and seeking medical assistance or therapy. It has been used for abuse in different power dynamics, especially when you organize. And that doesn't necessarily have to be. Hello?
Yeah. The internet cut out, faded at the end there, brother. But I agree with you. The difference is, the point I'm trying to make is, like you can read things out of the book, but when you go, it's like a little child, right? And he wants to put his hand in the fire.
Right, the mechanic thing.
You
like,
say,
you
no, don't put your
finger.
hand on that stove.
Go out and practice it. So maybe talk to a few
because they're
people
gonna put their hand in the fire anyway.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So, Elijah, I appreciate that.
It's an experience as the teacher.
Okay. Experience is the teacher. I like that. All right, Elijah, I appreciate you coming up. I really do like what you've been saying. I would recommend to maybe not be so like confident in the, maybe the extra natural parts of that. But I think overall, like as like a, just way of living life, that's, hey, I'm not against that as long as you're not forcing anything on anybody. So I appreciate you, Elijah, and happy earliest 70th birthday. All right. Alex, are you there?
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Are there? Yep.
Can I get your age real quick?
45.
All right. So what brings you up today?
Well, I liked your statement, convinced me to become a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raised Christian, and
interesting.
In my 20s, I actually asked God to show me if he was real or not, because I was at a low, and 2 weeks later, man, I can only describe it as love, liquid love going through me. It was the most amazing experience I've ever had in my life at 23. And the words "I am the light" came out of my mouth. My hands unfolded at the steering wheel. I said, "Thank you, Father," a bunch of times. And I've never doubted God's existence after that. And that was in my 20s, 23.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I tell people this, because it changed my life. The only two times, sorry.
So, I mean, so what you're saying is that you like took it in, you just called out, and you just allowed yourself to be kind of an antenna, or like a receiver of this like divine kind of revelation, or
Well, after this
am I
happened,
misreading you?
after I had this happen, I read the Bible about probably the equivalent of 9 times to try to figure it out and figure out what was happening.
Mhm.
But it says, "Cry out to me and you'll be saved."
Right.
I can only describe that as the Holy Spirit going through me. And
Well,
after that,
okay.
sorry.
Well, so what I want to like kind of stop, and this is where I kind of ask people a tough question, which is so you know I've had like times of low, parts of my life, and in hard times, and maybe I have cried out and like prayed and checked to see if there was God or Jesus there, and I got nothing back. So why did you get a response and I didn't?
I don't know. And your time's not done yet. You're still young. You don't look that
Mhm.
old to me. Uh, uh, but this is the funny thing. My cousin used to try to reach out to me with Jesus, and me and my dad would make fun of him. I thought he was in a cult. I came from a kind of a rougher background.
Mhm.
One night, I actually felt sorry for him, and I went to the church with him. And that night, the guy I was hanging out with, who was a good buddy of mine, went to help his little brother out. He ended up going to jail, and the 2 guys who went with him went to jail because he was helping his brother and he was in a bad situation. I would have went with him. So I see the hand of God looking back there. The only other time God's ever spoke to me, I was working at work as a welder, where I heard him audibly, and the words "just give" went through me, and I was very obedient to that. And it's just changed my life. I believe in reaping and sowing, karma. I actually believe too that
Okay.
emotions are a gift, and the more you love people, the more emotions you get. Like, if you do the opposite, where you're hurting people and doing bad things, you get desensitized, right? So,
Sure.
and I think love is the answer. Love's the key. Just, yeah.
So okay. Now I'm gonna keep kind of drilling in here just to kind of
Sure.
figure some things out. I'm not straight. I'm not a heterosexual man. I have a partner who is another man. Uh, would I be able to still be Christian? Would I be able to get into heaven if I stayed with my partner?
And that's where a lot of people, there's a debate. I think so. Once you put your faith in Christ, you go to heaven. We're all sinners. So he paid for your past, present, and future sin.
So do you
And
think it's a sin, I guess? Uh like would you consider that a sin, or would you say it would be more aligned with maybe adultery or something like that, like
these are all
that
good.
you can repent for, but really God's not too concerned with it? Or is this more of a, you get where I'm like kind of getting at, because there's rights that are kind of given and taken from people,
I'm gonna,
like in how people vote, and how
I'm gonna,
people even run in politics. And
I'm gonna,
I'm trying to figure out kind of, the legitimacy behind what they say when they say like, oh, Jesus says this or that, and this is a sin, this gets you to heaven, this gets you to hell.
I'm
So
gonna,
I
sh-
kind of want to figure that out.
I'm gonna share a story with you,
Sure.
which will explain that. So, in my time as walking as a Christian, my pastor and my cousin both told me that self pleasure is a sin, and I thought that was stupid, and I thought, you got the doctors telling you it's a healthy thing, right? So one night I was driving to work, and I said to God, "You know what, God? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If this is from you, have somebody at my work give me some kind of sign." 4 hours into my shift, right? And believe me, I've never asked God anything like this. 4 hours into my shift, I had a guy come up to me and say, "Here, God told me to give you this." It was a cue card. It said, "Make no provisions for the flesh, put on the armor of Christ." And I was like dumbfounded, man. I was like, is this really happening? And I've had a lot of weird things like that happen. When I've asked God things, he's shown me things or had people work through them to speak to me through him, man. And I'm not making this up either. It's crazy.
No, and I'm not trying to discredit that.
Yeah.
But like, let's look at possible, like, let's not consider the supernatural right now and see if there's
Okay.
just a completely reasonable explanation for what happened there. So perhaps that you made a call out, and what you did there is start up what psychologists will, thank you, call maybe like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where it's like, hey, generally God, if you do something out there, and in the scripture it actually says that like a prophet has to do and say like something very specific, and then that thing has to happen to it be of God. So to say like, God, give me a sign, is a very general thing, and that's what I would call like a self-fulfilling type of prophecy. So that sign could be a cloud going over the sun and maybe like putting a shadow on you. That sign could be a person coming up and giving you a track that says, put on the armor of Christ. That sign could be a puddle that of some sort of liquid that fell in front of you and looked like Jesus or Mary or Joseph or something. What I'm saying here, though, is that by saying, give me a sign, and then somebody gives you a piece of paper that says, put on the armor of Christ, it sounds, like it could be a lot of things. It sounds to me more like you just are looking for meaning in something that may not, or have a connection of two different events that may not be connected. They may be connected too. Now, I don't want to discredit that, like I said.
And I
But
appreciate that.
yeah,
But
and
make no provisions for the flesh. Yeah. And you know what? That's
to
pretty,
me,
that'd be pretty cool.
that
Yeah.
sentence says like, don't basically make any kind of preparations for like your life on earth, and to like go for more of the eternal soul type of preparation, right? So like, be more faithful to scripture, or to live on like a spiritual level. That's what that sounds like to me.
Here's another couple things, because I do like what you put up there. To me, I look at Jesus in the New Testament, and I think, here's a guy that just genuinely loved people, man. He went around and healed people, and the only people he seemed to really not like were the people who were really rule-based, legalistic,
I get what you're saying.
judgmental people.
Well, yeah,
So
the Pharisees were. I mean, it's a bit like, so scholarship would say that Jesus himself was a bit rule based, and that the reason why he was kind of criticizing them was because they weren't doing it the right way. He says in a lot of things like, you are the son of the devil, while I am the son of Abraham. Like, what I am trying to teach you guys is like the actual laws of the Torah, and the the prophecies being fulfilled through me. And what he's speaking of is, like the Levitical laws, and the Nevi'im, or like Isaiah, those type of prophets that are in the Old Testament. And the way that he's told is to be fulfilling these prophecies, as according to like Matthew, who actually doesn't quite understand the prophecies fully, and misrepresents them,
and
i.e. like the virgin birth thing, when it came to the word Parthenos, which is a Greek word, and the word Alma, which is the Hebrew word. They kind of got it mixed up, where Alma means any kind of young woman, whereas Parthenos could refer to like a virgin too. So that's where the virgin birth kind of thing came from. And yeah, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but what I'm trying to say though is, like what you're telling me is, I got to take this kind of like scripture and these verses that you're like giving the, basis of your faith, that don't really quite make sense. So I mean, like maybe you're not even Christian, maybe you're more Jewish.
Here's the last thing I want to say to you. Like, you seem like a pretty nice guy, and I understand why you're kind of looking like this. But love, right? I think that like I don't understand everything in this world, and I'm not going to claim to, but I know that going around helping people, doing kindness, and showing love to people, that's the way, man. And just trying to treat people how you want to be treated. And I do think getting baptized as an adult and accepting Christ did open some kind of spiritual door for me. And so the world from 23 and down, I can tell I was in darkness. Whatever this is, 23 to 45, like I had scales come off my eyes in church. My family's more loving. We all tell each other we love each other.
Scales come off your eyes in church?
Well, Paul had the same thing happen to him when he's on the road to Damascus, right? For me, I felt these things come off my eyes, man. Whether they were some kind of spiritual awakening in my eyes, I can't even describe it.
Oh, like the veil was lifted. Okay.
The veils. There was like some kind of scale veils over my eyes, man.
Scale veils.
And
all right.
Yeah. And the thing is, I felt God's spirit. I've even been healed by Jesus once supernaturally. So to me, that's a God I want to serve, man. A God that's healing me miraculously. Like, I don't even trust doctors that much anymore, man.
Whoa, I would now. Why don't you trust doctors?
Because I think honestly they're pushing pills, man. And a lot of the stuff you can just heal yourself with herbs. And I mean, if you're sick, have garlic, right? And even the way they did these vaccine things, man, I just didn't like that.
Huh? See, like this is where, like, okay, so like this is why I have this, kind of convincing thing, because I'm very much science based, right? So I'm also a cancer survivor. I say that like every time I go live because I think it's a big deal, right? So if it weren't for science and doctors, I wouldn't be here talking to you, because I had to have, actual tumors like removed from my body, and I had to be treated for that, and then I had to be, like monitored and checked, and I had to go through like a lot of different things to get to the point where I am now. It took a lot out of me, and it was very necessary, because I knew people that had the same type of cancer that are no longer here today. So I think it's dangerous when you say things like, don't follow doctors, that they're pill pushers,
I just find,
and I think that the Christian type of ideology can kind of back that up, right? So it's more Jesus, would say like, like the cure for anxiety is to be like the flower. Like the flower does not become worried if the sun is going to come out the next day, I think is what Jesus says, or something, which sounds to me like, okay, so don't worry about anything. Like people that have anxiety have chemical imbalances that actually do require things like maybe serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or they may have bipolar disorder that might require something like the intervention of medicine to help them from having a manic episode. Personally, I've had my bouts of panic attacks and anxiety, and like I'm on an SSRI. I take the good old Prozac, and I think that it's actually worked quite a bit. It does level you out a bit. I think that so you don't maybe feel the high highs and the low lows, but it also keeps you from having a panic attack, which at times would put me in the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack. So to say like to not go into, because they could be pill pushers. There's capitalism behind it all. Like I think that there are points there, but I think that it would be also dangerous to just tell people like off
no,
off
I'm
the
not.
cuff,
That's
just
not for.
not go seek medical help and to maybe just eat some
That's more
garlic.
for me, man. I guess because I just don't feel like for me myself,
Yeah.
like I'm more like Dana White's approach from UFC. If it's not broken, I'm not going there, man. And from what I have seen, they are pill pushers.
Yeah,
They don't they just mask the
my
pain.
dad lived that type of ideology, and he just had to get a triple bypass because he let his arteries clog up for decades. Because he wouldn't go to a doctor. We would
Mhm.
beg him to go to the doctor, and I watched him from the years probably about like 55 to 69 turn just like kind of like shrivel down into this like tiny version of himself that then had multiple heart failure, and it wasn't until his lungs were filling up with liquid that he, had my mom, or I believe somebody, call an ambulance. And now, guess what? He's taken all of the medications that the doctors prescribed him. He's taken them on time. He had to get open heart surgery, of course, because that's what a triple bypass is. And now he's trying to stick around for his grandkids and for his, like kids like me and my brothers and his wife, who also is a cancer survivor. So like, like if we're kind of giving personal testimonies here, my whole family has like been proof that, like religious thinking and just kind of like pushing it off is not the thing to do. And in fact, to maybe lean in to medicine, science, progress, these types of things that we know for a fact work. Whereas, prayer, they have studies that, like prayer it's a 50-50 thing, right? It doesn't matter if somebody prays over somebody or not, whether or not they're going to heal. So I guess, and I don't want to like, again, I don't want to discredit or like take anything away from you, but I do want to like, kind of just stop at the point of where we're saying, science and doctors and these things are kind of vaccines. I heard you mention, like we could get more into that. I can hear you brushing your teeth. Like, why are you brushing your teeth? Why not just have faith in Jesus?
Again,
Like, why why not, like, don't get a vaccine, just pray. Like, vaccines are proven to work. They may not, like with the COVID vaccine, right? They may not wipe something out, but your chances of getting it or getting it to a severe like level go down drastically. So yeah, vaccines do work, and now we have things like measles coming back. I work at a research hospital, and we actually just got an email saying that, hey, measles is back, so be careful because it's very easily spread. When we had, measles down to basically gone, and now we're here with measles back, like growing as a thing in America. So, like I guess I don't quite understand. Like you got a good feeling, and you like accepted the love of Jesus. Like, I mean, I go to a concert, and if I really enjoy the song, I get a good feeling. Like, what about the dharmic people that get good feelings when they call out to Shiva or Krishna or like, or Buddha or something? Like, I guess who are we to discredit them?
I'm not discrediting them. I'm just saying for the 20 years I've been going to Bible studies, like I've listened to older, wiser people who have relationship with God through Christ. It's amazing, man. And there is a lot of love there. So, and I more tend to listen to those type of people that are in the same faith as me, that have the same beliefs and that have experienced the same things. So it's once you've experienced those things, you kind of discredit a lot of other things, man, because they know what you're talking about, right? Whereas you don't really know what I'm talking about. So
Oh,
I can't
so
I can't
I haven't had a religious experience. You don't think that I've had any kind of like profound experience in my life that now you suddenly contain some sort of knowledge that is
Oh
unattainable
no, I'm
for
not trying to
myself?
say I'm better or you're lesser. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying you see things from a different perspective, man. Like if you were to watch this
Yeah, you
video,
can.
Akion at age 12 paints the heavens. This girl at 12 is a genius, man. She's a
Yeah,
prodigy.
I had somebody
Right?
on earlier that actually spoke of like I think it was the same person, like this little girl that. So a child is a good artist. So we like now take that as like a reason
She's
to.
having encounters with Jesus, right? Just like the boy who went to heaven, right? It's like when those people
That boy
once
was told what to say by his father.
oh, dude, I don't believe that at all.
You don't believe
And
that? Have you seen the like
me and
clips
you
of like
disagree
what's
on
being
things.
told to him? And like to me that these are just like concerning signs of possible manipulation, grooming, indoctrination, abuse.
I know many people
and like
who are really well educated and have good
painter.
jobs.
Okay, so
yeah,
they
but
have great
you're
jobs.
already on that path of discrediting it all.
No,
you see things
I'm
the
not.
way you see things.
I'm not
and I see
trying
things
to
the way,
discredit it out of bad faith. I'm trying to discredit it out of good faith, right? So I'm not trying to discredit it because I don't want to believe it. I'm trying to discredit it because if there's another explanation that I can come up with, then I'm going to probably take that one over a supernatural explanation, right? Like why wouldn't anybody? Because once you start considering, like the magical, then things like, oh, science doesn't matter, vaccines don't matter, it gets into dangerous territory.
I believe in
now
science. Science is good, man. Science is the study of things.
well, you
sense.
were just like poo-pooing it earlier. You were
No,
just
I wasn't
saying
poo-pooing
vaccines
science. I was poo-pooing the government and the way they're pushing things and the way they do things, I guess, right? Money, greed, I don't know. So yeah, we think differently, man.
I think that you might be a little bit like easy to to like sway. So
No,
it
well,
seems
if
like
that was true, I'd be
it's kind of a
listening and
little
being
hard,
swayed by you, right?
perhaps.
But I'm not.
A little bit. It seems like you've actually changed your stance a few times since we've started talking. So I do believe that I may be swaying you a little bit.
I don't think you are, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, I do have other people in the box. I do appreciate you coming up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yep. Have a good day.
You too, man.
Okay. So let's Nick and Janet, I appreciate you guys. I just want to try and keep ops here just because I don't have too much time.
Hello.
Colin, hello. Can I get your age real quick?
Yes, 20.
All right. And what brings you up?
Well, it sounds like you want to be convinced to become a Christian.
Yeah, I do. I actually I want to try and bridge the gap between skeptic and Christian, right? Faith holder, believer, and unbeliever. So the last guy was all over the place. So hopefully you actually have more of a stronger stance, because what he just told me was basically what somebody that like followed Jim Jones could have been told, and got them to drink laced Kool-Aid, right? So hopefully you have a better testimony or whatever. So give it to me.
Sure. So I rest somewhere in I'm kind of an Eastern thinker, and I'm an Eastern Orthodox inquirer. And so, yeah, why I should become a Christian? Because I believe that it's possible that God can become incarnate, and God can be with us.
Go on.
So wait, it helps to, where are you at? Are you an atheist, agnostic, or spiritual?
So I'm atheist to the Christian God, like as presented in the Bible. Now, I guess I would actually say I'm agnostic to this. I will be willing to say like a higher power could exist. I don't like to speak in any kind of absolutes. So atheist is kind of more of a colloquial term that, I don't believe in, any like I don't even know if we could actually like define what a god is. Like everybody kind of has their own idea of what it is. So that's kind of where the convincing has to do its work. And I'm not the easiest person to convince. I've read a lot. I've looked into a lot. So yeah, I would say like I'm agnostic, but I'm in good faith. I don't like to discredit people just off of bad faith. I like I was telling the person before, the reason why I'm skeptical is because it truly has to be miraculous, right? So that's why I want to rule out any kind of like realistic explanation before I start considering like maybe anything that's surreal or like outside of natural or supernatural. So go on.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think of the best place to start here. So I guess to understand an Eastern thought is it's not so much about going to heaven or not going to hell. It's about being united with God, our creator. So it might be important to discuss, we're either created or non-created, right? And I have no evidence to assume that we're not created.
No, I mean, I believe that my parents created me.
Well, it's a different kind of creation.
Okay.
So what I mean is
like
something from
spiritually?
nothing.
Or like the universe.
Sure, yeah.
Or like time. Okay. Sure. Like let's just say that there's a possibility that the universe was created. I'll grant that. Now, like how does that get me to Christian?
Okay, yeah. So I think of Christianity, or at least the Eastern fathers and the Western fathers. This is the most complex understanding of God. It's taking stuff from the philosophers and it's taking it further and expanding upon it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, so the logos, right, which the philosophers would just say reason,
right,
also is a thing that exists outside of.
Gone.
So in Eastern thought, we have the logos, right? And in this logo, there are logi, right? So each thing that exists, like a cup or you, it has a logi, an eternal thought. And and then everything kind of stems from there.
Okay, so you're saying that there's this like greater thing, this logos or reason, that we have access to, and that is kind of like the more Eastern type, because the way I understand like Eastern, I guess, thought, it can relate to like maybe a large like oneness or connection that kind of connects everybody, or the lack of like noneness. It's either like everything or nothing, right? So some Eastern religions, they believe in like there's the all great like nothing, and that's what kind of like what you need to kind of attain, is that you don't matter as much, that it's more about like kind of falling back into that nothing. Also the same way with everything, right? Like it's kind of the same, two sides of the same coin, the yin and yang. So I get that. Now I guess this logos and reason sounds less Eastern and more like a philosopher's, like more Western related. So like Greek philosopher, like reason is something that I believe in. I that's what I try to practice, like reason and rationality, when I comes to like discussions like this. So I always try to practice, like skepticism.
Okay. So
logic.
Here's the thing that's, sorry to interrupt.
No,
here's the thing that's different, is there are definitely very Eastern elements that kind of get mixed in with Eastern Orthodoxy. But the difference here is there's a mind behind this
You mean
reason.
Eastern Orthodox? Okay.
Yeah.
all right. So I was thinking Eastern as in, you know, like Dharmic or Buddhist.
But there is a lot of overlap, or at least it leans that way a little bit more. It's kind of it's nested in between the Western understanding and the Eastern. But the thing is there is a logos and there's a mind, right? And there's a mind, and within this logos are the logis. So you have a logi, which is an eternal thought. God has an eternal thought of you, and like in the Eastern, like in the East, it is unmanifested, or it's not yet manifested until you are created.
Okay. Yeah, and I understand this sort of like belief system. I don't see where like Jesus comes in. I guess can you bridge that little gap? Like where the Christ part comes in?
Sure. So Jesus is a manifestation of the logos.
Okay.
The entirety of the logos.
So like a Gnostic maybe form of like rationality, wisdom seeking.
So it
more
is
so than
not
like
not
salvation.
Gnostic.
Like, do you believe
It's
in like
not-
all like original sin? You know, like the fall of man.
So Eastern Orthodoxy doesn't believe in original sin in the way that the West does, because we believe that we have perfect nature and nothing will ever take us away from our perfect nature.
Okay. I don't see how like perfect nature. Can you describe that for me a little bit more?
Yeah, so nature describes the wayness of a thing.
Mhm.
And in Genesis, when God creates things, he says that they're good, and then man, very good. So the wayness of things will always be good. But we have a will, and we can go against our wayness, right, or our nature. And basically, if we go against our nature, we kind of lose identity, because we're no longer going in our nature. We're not behaving in our nature. But our nature remains. But in the West, it would say that we have a corrupted nature, that our nature is distorted. So that's the distinction there.
Okay. So we got a bit of a like so we have the Western idea of the like fallen like nature, like the original sin nature of man that needs salvation. And then you're saying that the Eastern Orthodox does not believe in salvation?
Our salvation is being restored to our
destined
nature.
for hell, or are we destined for heaven? And like where does the like Christianity kind of come into play? Like why was he crucified, right? Like what did he unalive for?
So in the West, the crucifixion is seen as a way of appeasing God, but in the
the
East,
blood,
it's very much
like the blood
it's
of
very
Christ
much
for the sins.
Yeah, so in the East, it's looked at as a way of healing us. Jesus looked at like a physician, and there is still that element from the West, but it's more so that he died so that he could heal us and bring us back to our nature, our true nature.
So we are broken people, or like, but through Jesus. So there is a salvation element here.
Yeah, so
it
there
is
definitely
less
is.
of a Gnostic type of, so like the Gnostics, right? They believe that Jesus is this that he wasn't crucified, and that
He's a
he
phantom.
was basically a beacon of light towards Sophia, or like like ultimate wisdom, and the true God, because they actually would claim that like Yahweh of the Old Testament is a god of like deceit, right? And that's the whole thing, is that humans are living in this kind of like matrix, and that's caused by this like god of the physical world, this like trap that we're in. So that's kind of why I was asking like where you stood when it came to like what kind of Christian you are, because there's these doctrines of salvation versus seeking wisdom. There's different like eternal soul? You know, do you believe in hell, like eternal punishment, or heaven? You know, like are these places that exist, or do they exist in like spiritual manners?
So
Can you kind of delve into that?
yeah, I'll delve into that. First, do separate myself. Eastern Orthodox separate themselves from Gnostics because they believe that there's something wrong with matter and flesh, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Well, doesn't Jesus like say not to, you know, like be of the flesh?
Yeah, our flesh is supposed to be subject to our mind, and our mind's supposed to be subject to God. But it doesn't make our flesh wrong just because it's below our mind. Basically, we shouldn't listen to the inclinations of our flesh more than the inclinations of our mind. But I will tell you, so in the East, heaven and hell are looked at a little bit differently. It's very much a state of hatred is how I would put it.
Mm-hmm.
God's presence is everywhere, and if we hate God, we're essentially hating His love that will always be around, and that's kind of what hell is.
So if you don't believe in God, like say like myself, I don't quite believe in like God as like the Old Testament or maybe even Jesus, right? Maybe a if God is like considered the universe, like then maybe like a deistic way, like this uncaring wholeness. Sure, I can get on board with that. So I guess like what do you mean by like God?
What do I mean by God?
Mhm.
That in which nothing greater can be conceived, and also
So like the Aquinas type of like philosophical like perfect like perfection type of logical, what is that, the ontological, or is it the teleological argument, which is if there's nothing, like if you can conceive of something and there's something greater than that, then God is the greatest of things that can be conceived.
that's one way of describing it that kind of touches on our limits, but also another way of describing God, His essence is unknowable. So we can know Him,
conceive Him, but you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So for you, I can conceive you, but I don't know your essence. Like I don't know what it's like to be you.
Right.
So I know what it's like to be you in as much as I'm a human, and we share in our same nature. But because God has a divine nature, we don't know what it's like at all to be divine.
Right, and I've heard of the like yeah, I would agree that, you know, there's no way to completely know what it's like to be another person, right? Unless you are that person, and then you are no longer yourself. But so is God Yahweh? Is God like, I guess what I'm trying to find out here is, you know, like, is heaven a physical place? Is it in another dimension? Is it outside of time? Is it inside of time?
Yeah, so I would say definitely heaven is at hand. It's near, and we create heaven on earth, and the stuff that we pay attention to here on earth can be eternal if it's real, and so heaven is a state, and it could be a place if we want to make it, if we want to have kids, if we want to have people to love. Then
okay, so you're saying like content, like being content with life, it could be considered like heaven, like.
Well, everything has an eternal. William Blake says, "He who sees the infinite in all things sees God." So if we want to see heaven, we start viewing things as if it's infinite. And pretty much everything is, as I was talking about, because everything has a logi that exists in the infinite mind of God, in the logos, the greater logos.
Okay. All right. I think I'm starting to put it together here. So like God has this concept, right, of like, say, yourself, and then you are the representation of that concept.
Yeah, I would say manifestation of it.
Manifestation.
And this concept that we all have, this logi, it's infinite, right? Because God's thoughts are infinite. Each person has, an infinite place in the mind of mind of God within this logos.
Okay. And so why are you why are you convinced that this is the like ultimate truth? Like, was there something that like proved all of this to you, or does it just make sense to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I come from a Calvinist background, and in response, I left the faith. I came back. My girlfriend's still a Calvinist, but I guess I know some of these things to be true, and this is where I'm at right now. And also, I'd say the biggest thing for me is morals. Right? I just can't shy away from the fact that there's right and wrong. And so that's why I still fit my, because what am I doing?
So maybe
otherwise?
Okay, you do what you want to do, right? Like I think that that's what a lot of humans should be like looking at, right? Morals are to who, right? Like, is it moral for me to pollute a river? Like maybe if it's to better off a human, like the human race, maybe it is moral. But is it moral according to the fish? Like the survival of the fish in that river.
Well, it all depends on your intent, and it depends on what you're holding to be the highest good. It's not it's not subjective.
Okay.
So if just because I can't search your heart doesn't mean that it's not objective.
So what I'm trying to say though is that, like, for instance, is it good to do like I guess I it's hard for me to understand because like to mustache man, it would be considered good to like G-side a whole race of people, whereas I personally would not agree. So what would make me more correct compared to him? Because for me, objectivity would have to be that like all of this is all spelled out somewhere, right? Like every single thing is given a yes or no or good or bad, with like whatever decision morally that you need to make. So like putting this shirt on, was it a good idea? Somewhere it's written that that was a good idea to put the shirt on, or not, or maybe it's amoral. It's just it seems to me that like people have these concepts, but they're not really like too like I guess fleshed out.
Okay, sure, but there are multiple goods. Like if you put your shirt on red or yellow, both are good. So it's not necessarily black and white.
Gotcha.
But for the thing is we have like pretty much every culture would agree that it's a good thing to be selfless, right? To value others as well, and not just the self.
But do we need to call that a moral or a survival? Like for the survivals of the human race, or the human species, then to help each other would make sense, right? Like so.
But you
are we sure that morals aren't derivative of maybe evolution, and just
could be.
the theory of evolution, like survival, like fitness, and the ability for our instinct to continue our and reproduce and keep like our species going, and then perhaps someday it'll mutate to another species, because that would kind of fall into what we see like evidentially or like empirically. Like we can look at all the different fossils in history. We can look at the changes that we've noticed from birds of one continent to another, if they share like a similar ancestor.
Hello, sorry.
Yeah, I was just kind of going on and on and on about evolution, saying that that kind of makes more sense to me, as far as like why we may think things are good or bad, right? I think that like the reason why we treat each other well or strive to is to use it as a survival trait. Are you busy?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
Okay.
get that.
Are you talking to me?
Sorry.
You're
Okay,
fine.
I'm back.
Cullen, you know what? Actually, I am a little bit past my time. I did kind of come on a little late. I do like
Sure.
where this discussion has been going, but I don't want to keep you if something's going on.
They are gone now. I do want to
Sure.
tell you, is survival a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that it's neither. I think that survival is just instinctual, like as for all life, right? Like everything wants to survive. I think that dogs um will do things, cats will do things to better their survival, such as, be cute. And
Sure.
I mean, like, I personally think that I think that there is, maybe a little bit more to it. Like a dog could probably care and love and, like not just want to survive instinctually, but I think that that's a main driver when we kind of zoom out and we look at these things like morals and kind of what drives us.
So yeah, exactly. So Shakespeare says to be or not to be.
That is the question.
Everybody yes. So I mean, you can. That's where it all kind of starts. It's pretty much a choice. It's okay. Is this survival good or is it bad? And then all morals stem from that. You could say that it's subjective, or you could say that it's subjective. It's really either or. But I mean, if we love, right, then if we acknowledge that love exists, it's the one thing that's very intangible, right, with the senses. If we acknowledge that love exists, okay, then what does love do? It loves survival. It loves being. So then everything goes from there. But yeah, I could never prove to you, but that is where it starts, to be or to not to be.
Well, and the rest of it is, this above all, to thyself be true, right? I think that's what Shakespeare said. Be true to yourself. So in that essence, I'm going to probably close this conversation. I think that you should come back on. We should keep this conversation going. I'll try and be on tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time, on YouTube and on TikTok. So yeah, try and come back on. Let's keep the discussion going. I am kind of running out of time here, so I bid you adieu, and I appreciate you for coming on.
Appreciate you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So yeah, I mean, just like Hamlet, I'm left to not know which way to go. I guess I'm convinced in nothing, and nothingness has taken me over. And I don't know, shall I drink of the cup that my mother just drank out of and she fell in Ophelia and Goodnight Sweet Prince and all of that? I don't know. I think that Shakespeare has a lot of beautiful things to say. I think that he's very quotable. I also don't think that he's a very good use to convince somebody to become a Christian. That all also being said, I think that Cullen there was a good sport, and somebody in the YouTube comments was asking, what is the deal with this debate? Who actually wins? And I would say that it's not about winning when it comes to a debate. It's more about sharing, perspectives and to discuss and perhaps grow together as we, take our little journeys. And as Shakespeare said, to thyself be true. So if it's your truth to, I guess, be a Christian and to follow either blindly or to follow by scripture or not, or to be Eastern Orthodox and maybe a little bit more into the church fathers and logic, sure. I can't say that I'm quite there. I think that we are able to get to these spots on our own. That all being said, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Not the greatest episode, but hey, we got to take what we can get. Hopefully tomorrow we have some better discussions. I promise I will be more on time and I will be more vigilant and better off. Maybe I'll have a different subject. If you have any ideas, shoot me some ideas for prompts. I'm willing to talk about more than just Christianity. We can go into logic, we can go into politics, whatever you want. You can find me at the Discord of Deconstruction Junction. This is the Discord that I created. You can get there by going to discord.gg/deconjct. We do take anybody and everybody there that are willing to, critically think about things and to deconstruct everything, really, just to kind of parse out what was indoctrination and figure out what is you, right? Because that's what we all want to take away from all of this is, who are we? Are we just the culmination of what we've been told, or, other things? All right, everybody. I'm getting a little tired, so I hope you guys all have a beautiful night. I don't know who else is on. There's not too many people left in here. It looks like everybody's kind of. I'm sure Deconstruction Zone Justin is on. Go over there, tell him Benny Boy sent you. And if he is on, tell him I miss him. I miss you, Justin. Call me because I need to figure out how to do audio. Anyways, have a good night, guys. Appreciate you. Bye.